Everyone. So, as recently we observed World Heritage Day, we thought that it is a very good idea to conduct a lecture series, particularly on Hampi, which is one of the important heritage sites of India and Karnataka too. Uh, so, regarding that, we are organizing a new lecture series. It is titled as Something About Hampi. So today's our resource person is Shri T.M. Keshav sir, and sir is going to talk on the title A Dusty Day, The Burning Sun, The Whispering Stones, The Story That Never Ends, Something About Hampi. I warmly welcome you, sir, to the platform of the history enthusiasts. It's a privilege to have you on the platform of the history enthusiasts, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Thank you, sir. Uh, and I also welcome the president of History Enthusiasts, Ms. Manali Momaya, to this session. And I also welcome all the audience who are joining us through this session. Please be active throughout the session, and your questions will be taken at the end of the lecture. Now, I request Ms. Manali Momaya, the president of History Enthusiasts, to introduce our today's resource person, Shri T.M. Keshav, sir.
Thank you for the welcome, Nidhi. I apologize for the background noise because there is heavy rain here. So it is an honor to introduce our today's resource person, Shri T.M. Keshav sir. He is currently retired superintending archaeologist. Archaeological. He retired as a superintending archaeologist of the ASI Bangalore Circle. He completed his BSc on natural sciences, uh, MA in Indology, and diploma in epigraphy, a postgraduate diploma in archaeology, and throughout training, he has thorough training in prehistory, protohistory, art and architecture, conservation, drawing, surveying, exploration, excavation, antiquarian laws, photography, and numismatics. He entered into ASI in 1979 as a technical assistant at Aurangabad and as an expert on Ajanta and Ellora caves. He has conducted several important excavations, VVIPs and VIPs, to the monuments of circle, especially Ajanta, Ellora, Daulatabad, Elephanta, Karla, Bhaja, Raigad, etc. Of the High Commissioners of United Kingdom, Belgium, French President Mitterrand, Duke of Edinburgh, the ambassadors of China, Korea, Bulgaria, central and state ministers of our own country, then students of administrative services like IAS, IPS, IFS, and students from School of Archaeology. He has helped them, conducted tours for them. Conducting atomic scientist, he gave a tour to atomic scientist Dr. Raja Ramanna. It was a memorable work in addition to conducting CHOGM dignitaries at Goa in 1983-84. A documentation of Raj Bhavan silver antiquities and furniture of the 18th and 19th century during the period of Lieutenant Governor H.E. Satarawala was a very unique experience of Sir. In addition, he has discovered an unfinished Buddhist cave at Wadi near Peoplegaon, Aurangabad district. His specialization is Hoysala art and architecture, Vijayanagara art and architecture, and those of Chalukyas of Badami, Chalukyas of Kalyana, and the Rashtrakutas. He has held several positions at, and various research work he has completed in ASI. He was the curator of Halebeedu Museum, and there he has conducted innumerable VVIPs and VIPs to Belur, Halebeedu, Shravan monuments, occasionally to Somnathpur, and notable among them are uh, Khurshid Alam Khan, Venkat Subbaiah sir, and so on. First ladies of SARC, dignitaries led by Srimati Sonia Gandhi, Rani Aishwarya of Nepal, Begum Khalida of Bangladesh, and the ladies of Mauritius and Sri Lanka in 1986. He has reorganized the archaeological museum at Halebeedu and conducted excavations at Nageshwar temple complex of Halebeedu. Uh, he was also a senior technical assistant and assistant superintending archaeologist in Bangalore Circle during 91 to 98. And in this period, he conducted excavations at Gudnapur and Banavasi in the Sirsi Taluk. Discovered a palace remains at Gudnapur based on inscriptional references, and excavated earliest earthen Buddhist stupa at Banavasi. He has also conducted excavations at Hampi in the north of uh, Mint Shilamandap area to the west of Hazara Ramachandra temple and near the octagonal bath and in the traditional Mint area, and identified the palace of Veera Harihara and that of Sri Krishna Devaraya during the Hampi excavations. Uh, he has also excavated one of the earliest stupas at Kanaganahalli near Sannati in Gulbarga district of Karnataka, that was a Maurya Satavahana site. So uh, he also served as the in charge of ASI site museum in Kondapur, Nagarjuna Konda, Amravati, and Chandragiri in Andhra Pradesh. He was in charge of the archaeological museum at Hampi during the period of 2003 to 2005. And in this period, many new features like kiosks, visitor friendly galleries, etc., were added to the museum. As Deputy Superintendent Archaeologist from 2005, he was involved in the preparation of a complete excavation report on Kanaganahalli, and a comprehensive report on Hampi excavations was also submitted. It was spread over the period of 3 decades. So he has conducted several great VIPs and VVIPs of both central and state governments and across the World Heritage sites of our country. Uh, so, sir, it is a really very honorable career. He has done a lot of great work in his time as superintending archaeologist of the Bangalore Circle ASI. And it is also our great joy to host you once again on our channel. So, without any further ado, I request Sir to begin his talk.
Thank you very much, both of you. I'm immensely happy to be part of once again participating in the narration of from in my style, starting with the usual saying of mine, Endaro Mahanubhavulu, Andariki Vandanamu. My salutations to all the people who are watching this screen and most of my colleagues, both of the state and Archaeological Survey of India, they are familiar with as to how I was initiated into the department and my experiences throughout in the various capacities as a curator, as a technical assistant, and as a higher officer is well known to them. However, how I started. The title of the my presentation is Dust, Sun, Whispering Stones, Never Ending Story, the story that never ends, like this. This all happened because the I call usually Hampi as my soul. For the simple reason I started my career at Hampi on daily basis. That too way back in the year 1977 for a paltry sum of rupees 12 per day. My name was in the beginning of the muster roll, followed by the names of the labours. I got 12 rupees. The male coolies got 3 rupees 75 paise. The female coolies got 2 rupees 50 paise or so, something like that. The girl coolies got around 1.5 rupees or so. To get this job, to get this supervisor post at the site, World Heritage Site. It was not World Heritage Site then, it was declared only in the year 1986. I treaded the steps of the office of Mid Southern Circle, Bangalore, led by the most doyen of Indian archaeology, important doyen of Indian archaeology, Dr. S.R. Rao. Dr. S.R. Rao had met my father, late T.S. Mudaranathan, at Mythic Society, where he was the manager. Even though he was a police officer, he had to serve for a petty sum of 150 rupees to maintain the family. And S.R. Rao was told by my father, I have my son who has done MA in archaeology. He is so and so, so and so. Then S.R. Rao told him, send your son, let me see, so that I can give him some work. So my father told me to reach S.R. Rao. I went to him. The whole day he kept me in waiting. When he was about to go home in the evening, I, with folded hands, stood in front of him, only to be told by him to come the other day. I was traveling from Tumkur to Bangalore. I had less relatives in Bangalore, even though if they were there, they were far off. And I had to visit S.R. Rao for more than 12 times to get a note from him to go to Hampi to meet one Mr. Venkateshwar Rao, who is the conservation assistant, and then he will introduce me to Dr. S.K. Joshi. Dr. S.K. Joshi was senior technical assistant, and they had started excavation in the year 1975 in the region of Mahanavami, Dibbai Royal Enclosure. So, fresh from the university, I reached this particular place, Hampi, in a red bus, dusty red bus. A start in the night around 9 o'clock. I landed up at Hospet around 5:45 the next day. Was waiting for the first bus to Kamalapur, and there was a bus. It was so dusty, Hospet bus stand. God forbid, there was no place, nowhere to sit or stand. It was that filth there, and so many people were lying down there itself. The Lamani tribe, tribal people, many people were there. The bus came. The conductor said, "This is the bus." Before I could get into the bus, near the door, the whole bus was completely occupied. I was astonished. The conductor asked, "Did you not enter into the bus? How can I, with so many people swarming around?" This is how you have to get into the bus. You are not supposed to get into the bus through the door. You should get into the bus through the window. Then only you will get a place in the bus. However, he was kind enough to take me on board, and the 12 kilometers from Hospet to Kamalapur, I covered it in just 45 minutes. Imagine, nowadays you go in a jiffy. It dropped me at Kamalapur village, a dusty village. Shri Hotel was welcomed me, got a cup of tea, then went to see the CA. The CA told the assistant archaeologist or the senior technical assistant, Dr. S.K. Joshi, who is no more. He is the person who gave me the first salary to my earnings. So I remember him fondly. as the person who gave me the job. Thus, I was introduced on a dusty day to Hampi. Next, and I find that at every nook and corner of Hampi, it was bustling with life. As the Creator rolled down the valley relentlessly, so is the human occupation. Every day the sun rolls down. This is the location called Ennemorogundu, and that is a rock which looks like with a head and a man sleeping warmly, with left leaving his footwear at the feet, and the sun rolled down, only to say good morning to Sri Virupaksha, the Lord of Hampi. Next, now, if you are not careful, if you visit Hampi, if you are not watchful, you will see some of these finest creatures. Even now, you can look at that, bewildering you. Look at this bird in the extreme left corner. It stands on a dry branch of a plant, which itself is like a question mark. So, you have to start your day with a question mark at Hampi. Where to start, how to go, where to go, so many things to see. That's what you will get at Hampi. Once again, no doubt the sun plays a vital role and he appears between rocks, above rocks, by the side of rock, overwhelming the entire environs, only to the music of chirping birds and a quizzical peacock saying, it's another day, is it? Next. Huh. A small little garden here and there in the wilderness of Hampi attracts you to beautiful flowers as well as butterflies, which are some of the times some which are the elements that accelerate your mind. Varied, multifaceted. It indicates that whatever you see at Hampi would be varied and multifaceted. Next, yes, here is the beautiful concept of imagine your imagination, your vision will create Hampi in you with that effect, with such a force, which is varied, multifaceted, not constant, moving. There you will see, still, don't a few people remark Hampi is listless, but no, Hampi is ever active as this beautiful whiff of smoke emanating from a lit up agarbatti. Next, well, wherever you go, whichever place you go, it is ultimately it is the lap of mother. So three Devis are there at Hampi. It is the lap of the mother that comforts you. Taiya Madilinalli. This is one of the pictures I got when I went to the Lakshmi Narasimha temple, Marehalli, in near Kanakapura, wherein two kittens comfortably slept in the lap of goddess Parvati, goddess Lakshmi, and one of the kitten opens its eyes and says, "Do not disturb me," whereas the other kitten sleeps comfortably. So ultimately, wherever you go, it means the nature of Hampi is such that it is the one which is soothing. It has a soothing effect. Next, and these are the next. These are the three goddesses who have soothing effect at Hampi. Yellamma, Pattanada Yellamma, Yellamma, the goddess Pampambike, goddess Bhuvaneshwari, Pampa and Bhuvaneshwari, the three goddesses at the World Heritage Site, Hampi. They are there with their eternal force blessing you, and these mothers play a vital role wherever you go. Next, this is Lord Virupaksha. The mask is said to have been given, it is in dispute where people say it is of a later period, people say it is of Krishnadevaraya's times. However, this is a golden mask which is used annually for decorating the main Mula Virupaksha, so that it is these three entities, the gods and Virupaksha, they protect the World Heritage Site. Next, and here, the moment we step into the Hampi, the moment we enter into the place, we are told that this is the place called Kiskinda of Ramayana fame. And here it is that after slaying Maricha, after losing Sita, Rama comes in search of Sita and enters into the Kishkinda. So, right from the times of immemorial, well, the mythological rendering is that it is the place where Ramayana, the Kishkinda Kanda of Ramayana happened. And Kishkinda is none other than Hampi. Next. And Hampi, as we know, we generally say Hampi, Pampi, Pampa, and all. It is the Vijayanagara, the capital of Vijayanagara dynasty by the same name, wherein the people who ruled between 1336 to 1565. And it is recently, during my studies of Ramayana, Kishkinda Kanda of Ramayana, I have identified this part of the river Tungabhadra as Pampa Saras with the evidences, as well as the hillock across further as Kishkinda, that is narrow rock formations. Next. Now, if you want to know, have a certain general information, the World Heritage Site measures 41.8 square kilometers, 4,179.908 hectares, 103 to 8.78 acres. It is divided into a buffer zone area of 194.2 square kilometers. Then we have the Archaeological Survey of India has got nearly 2,200 acres, and thus we have the area of Hampi is nearly 42 square kilometers in its measurement and has so many zones, buffer zone and coast zone, which say that no modernized activity should hamper the grandeur of the place. Next, Hampi. When you go to Hampi, even now, this is when after I retired, even now, it has got so much for you to tell, so much for you to show. Without trekking, without walking around, without putting exercise of climbing the rocks, you won't find anything so easily. This is, I am crossing the eastern foothill of Matanga Parvata. Next, you have to face many localities like a briskly moving rivulet near Matanga Parvata. This is Turtu Canal, which is flowing in great gushes amidst the ruins of Hampi. Next,
Sir, sorry to interrupt you in the middle.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of noise which is disturbing your voice. So can you
Shall I remove
rejoin?
microphone? Can I speak like this?
Yes, sir. Now it's clear.
Hello?
Yes, yes, sir.
Now it's clear?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
it's clear.
Okay. Crossing a rivulet.
Yes, sir.
And it is very important that when you go around, you should have the braveness of crawling through caves, which could be mysterious and adventurous as well. Next. Now, walking in the wilderness, you should be cautious enough to watch for certain animals, especially here we have two animals that bother us. One is the sloth bear and the other one is leopard. So you should watch your front and back as well when you go in the wilderness. Next. So climbing is taxing, and at the same time, every nook and corner of the hillocks is quite important, and the field work at Hampi is exciting. I am walking through the royal enclosure area. I have crossed the royal enclosure area. I have crossed the Zarana enclosure area, and in the backdrop of me is the Ramayana famed Matanga hillock. I am proceeding towards Achyutaraya temple. Next, this is the wilderness through which you have to pass through. Leading the way in the forerunner is a person who he was right from his childhood. He was born and brought up there, Mr. Narasimha Prasad, who was very much familiar with this particular World Heritage Site for the past 40 years. He is familiar with, since he knows the nook and corners of the place because he drew the plan and layout of the World Heritage Site for declaring it as a World Heritage Site. Behind me is another boy who is very much familiar with the rock formations and the caves of the environment. That is one Mr. Obla. Next. Now, still, show a rock, I will build a temple. Give me a space, I will build a temple. That is the architectural marvel of Hampi. You Here is a rock formation which is slightly flattened, and there they have cut a few stones and put up a shrine for Shiva, and still you will see a Nandi buried there in the ground, only to be excavated and placed before this shrine of Shiva. It is in one of the cultivated fields nearby on way to Achyutaraya temple, and just to get a stone we'll build. It is on the way. It is in the vicinity of Shabari Ashram near Matanga Parvata. Next, watch them, they can guide you. If you are very careful in observation, you have to watch certain birds. These birds are giveaway. They will guide you to where is the source of water, where you may get food, where are the fruits and all. And here a woodpecker is doing that. He is very active, keeps looking on either side, both right and left, and guides you to which way you have to go further. Next. And walking is really taxing unless you are sure to trek, unless you are practiced trek. Otherwise, there is a adage in Kannada language, Kaliddu Hampi, Kanniddu Kanakagiri, Rokka Iddu Tirupati. It means you should have strong legs to go around Hampi. You should have sharp eyesight to see the Narasimha in the Kanakagiri nearby. And then you should have plenty of money to visit Balaji of Tirupati, wherein every penny will be taken away by him on one pretext or the other, and he will be left with only bus fare to return back because he has to pay tax to Kubera, no? That's why he collects every money, every penny you have when you visit him. In the backdrop is Matanga Hilak. This is the northern gateway towards Matanga Ashram as we go from the Zanana enclosure. Next. Well, you give me a boulder, I will carve an image. Give me a stone, I will turn into a carving. That's what the people of the Vijayanagara architects have said. So they got a fortification stone, they carved the image of Lakshmi, Ganesha, and a Kapalika. So here we find every stone, they visualize some image and then they introduce the carving. They make a carving out of it. Ganesha and Hanuman are the two popular idioms or elements that they have used for their carving. Modernization, accessibility makes you to hook onto the gadgets, and that is also to be noted. See, for sake of communication, even though I was not in peace of mind, I had my phone, I had my music, I had everything modern gadgets to traverse through or trek through a day. Next. Now, you should have boundless energy. If you have got boundless energy, no doubt the abode of Hanuman, where energy is reflected in Hanuman very well, and you have to have this to trek at the World Heritage Site, Hampi. Next. Sometimes it so happens we are overprotective when you start worshipping an image or something like that. So here is Tamilized Durga near behind Achyutaraya temple. It is a boulder, huge boulder sculpture. So, in typical Tamilian way, they painted her. They gave different colors for her drapery, her arms and ornaments, as well as the various weapons she holds. And she is even today she is worshipped. Annually she is painted once again. Tamilized enamel painted Durga behind Achyutaraya temple, an annual feature. Otherwise, the sculpture would have been one of the most beautiful sculptures of Durga at the World Heritage Site Hampi. Next. Sometimes they conveniently use a rock formation and its extension provide shade to the entrance. This has happened nature's roof for the entrance at one of the entrance mandapas near Achyutaraya temple, which leads you into the temple, coming from Matanga Hilak. Next. Well, here, as I have shown in one sculpture, it is better to know that even such smaller narrations are captured vividly at Hampi, proving that this place was an active part of the Ramayana. As Simhika traps Hanuman, Hampi and its environment will trap you in a question of what next. Curiosity, the first two to unravel the mystery. Here, you will find everything curious. What next? When you go to a place, you go to an area, locality, happen to see them, then a question arises, what next? Next, here is the largeness. See, the composition is so large. Here is Achyutaraya temple, as viewed from Rishyamukha mountain. In the backdrop is Matanga Hilak, Matanga Parvat. And this is the location, this is the place, this is the location of Shabari Ashram, from where Rama and Lakshmana trekked through the Achyuta Bazaar in front of this particular Achyutaraya temple, the Bazaar Mandapas. Here, sitting on top of this Rishyamukha hill, where I hold the camera, Sugriva watched Rama Lakshmana in the streets of Achyuta Bazaar, present medieval Achyuta Bazaar, and sent Hanuman to meet them near Pampasarovara, that is near Chakratirtha in front of Kodalaramaswamy temple, to ask as to who they were. So we find this is the most busiest place in those days because it was the market of Ganika streets, women of noble qualities, as well as the women indulging in favor for men, and also it was the marketplace wherein it was here that jewelry, it was a jewelry bazaar. It was the bazaar of golden ornaments, and it is called, we call Chinnavarpete. So in the inscriptions it is Ganika bazaar, the Achutraya Pete in the inscriptions. And recently one of the scholars appears to have identified the Pramukha Parnapana Vidi, the Pansupari Bazaar, as the bazaar where golden jewelry and everything, pearls and everything were sold. Unfortunately, he was not part of the excavation that was conducted by us in the area, said area, at Kramukaparnapana Vidi, Pansupari Bazaar in front of Hazarama temple, wherein actually in the excavation plenty of betel nuts were found, supari nuts were found during the course of excavation, kept in pots by us, proving the inscription as that place as Pan Supari Bazaar, not golden jewelry market as he envisages. However, we find interestingly this particular Achutrayapete was the bazaar for gold and jewelry. As we found from the excavation during the conservation, many a golden jewelry in the course of excavation, as well as gold coins, strewed in the Achutrayapete, proving it to be the most important bazaar, the golden jewelry bazaar, not the Pansupari bazaar, as identified very recently, a few days ago, by one of the scholars. Next, next. This is the Achyutaraya Bazaar, flanked by Lokapavani on one side and the temple of Hanuman on the other side. On the extreme right corner of you will find the Kodandramaswamy temple and Pampa Sarovara, the Chakratirtha, and this particular Saptajanashrama, Tapovana, in the Kishkinda Kanda of Ramayana, near Matanga Parvata, there is the ashram for ashrama or tapovana of Saptajana, wherein these Saptajana rishis used to get themselves or used to immerse themselves in the saras in front, wherein they would offer their meditation or do tapasya in getting immersed in the water, so that the water of Tungabhadra is only deep here only. And it is interesting to note that recently Srinivas Rao, one of the scientists, has, when he has put this particular Chakratirtha water for analysis, it is proven that this particular region, the content of oxygen is more in water than elsewhere. So it was already known to the people right from the times of Ramayana. This Pampasaras or Chakratirtha was the most important water body in the whole Tungabhadra river, wherein the Saptajanashrama, the rishis, immersed themselves in the water and had sufficient oxygen to breathe in and breathe out while they were immersed in the water. Now, this is the Achyuta Bazaar where Rama and Lakshmana moved towards Kodandramaswamy temple to see the Pampasaras. There standing in that region, Hanuman encounters them and he inquires them gently as to how they have come to this Pampasaras, a river of pure water body. That's what he says in Kishkinda Kanda of Ramayana. Next, and here we have the most important one of the Ramayana aspects, Anjanadri, the birthplace of Hanuman. Modern Vijayanagara period temple is there. Has got plenty of caverns. It was part of Kishkinda, as very well evidenced by that particular land formation. And it is behind this Anjanadri and over Kishkinda, many rock shelters of prehistoric times are found. Pre and protohistoric times have been found, which have been painted in red ochre, and it could be of that particular Ramayana period. When we go to the chronologically, when we go back, it almost goes to up to 4,000 to 5,000 years before present, telling that that's the date when Ramayana has also occurred. That is very well reflected in these rock shelters also. And monkeys did live in these rock shelters. Even today they live in these rock shelters, as we have plenty of flora and faunal activities in the region. Next. And one of the hillocks, what we find is prehistoric man, rock bruised and painted in these regions. Masalaina Gudda. It is one of the rock formations or hillock formations to the north of Vitala Bazaar and to the northeast of Vitala Temple. And look at that particular formation. It looks like a swan swimming towards east. It has rock paintings and rock bruisings and etchings. Next. And here is one such recently discovered rock shelters in the region called Kadebagilo of Anegundi area. A hillock is there at Kadebagilo. You have to climb up, go through many rock formations. Then you will see on the left hand side, top of the left hand side, that painting is seen on one of the boulders. Here that painting is shown in red ochre, wherein a celebration is seen. Both the men and women hold their hands together, joined together, and are in celebration. Close by is a later painting done slightly later of a buffalo over there. Next, with such a Hampi, such a picturesque Hampi has a strong traditional connection as Kishkinda of Ramayana fame, as I explained above, the abode of Shivagirija. The site flushed periodically, having socio-cultural tradition, and also had a glimpse of uh, the Ashoka Mauryan evidences, as we find rock edicts of the Mauryan Ashoka at Udayagulam and Nittur, and also sculptured panels of Thava and Ayaka pillars done into Shivlinga at the Royal Enclosure excavations, and the panels of the Shatavahana times which have been excavated. Next, trek at Rishimuka. Now, I had to deviate a bit to get into the Ramayana plot, and once again, I will continue the trek. I am telling you the story of a day's trek of mine to Rishimuka. It is here the Ramayana brothers, Rama Lakshmana, were sighted. So, in the background there is the cliff of Rishimuka. Next. You should be very careful before entering into a cave or a rock formation. There is a ruined temple, there is a shrub, there is a cavern, and had to trek into it to know as to what. What? Next. On a boulder, huge boulder, there were the sculptures of Rama and Lakshmana. In the entire Hampi, as far as my knowledge goes, I find only this boulder at Rishimuka Hillock having shown the Rama and Lakshmana brothers. Behind them stands Hanuman in Anjali. And look at this crown, the crown of prince. This is the attire which has traces of Odishan art in them. And we find here Rama is shooting an arrow to prove his might at the Saptatala Chedana, and this episode occurs at Rishyamukha as per the Kishkinda Kanda of Ramayana. And this sculpture also proves this particular hillock to be of Rishyamukha in this thing. This is of Vijayanagara period. There is a connection to this sculpture, and you should note that on either side of the shoulder of Lakshmana and Rama, there are nails. Nail marks are there. This indicates that they were garlanded and worshipped annually. That is very well evidenced, and this is further proven by next the discovery of a temple nearby, just opposite to this boulder. And here, my man Friday, angry young man, Narasimha Prasad, the unofficial draftsman of Archaeological Survey, Hampi Circle, he is a must for me as he is good at preparing the drawings at site. Here he is judging the elevation of the ruined temple that has been found amidst the vegetation. And there one of the boulders did have the sculpture of Ganesha as well. So you should be very watchful when you go for your trekking, because all of a sudden Hampi throws up something curious and interesting to you. Further, we found these two boulders where Rama is there. The opposite boulder, just to the right of Rama, we have a huge sculpture, quite interestingly, set in a small in a niche of its own, with two female sculptures. And when I looked up, it is more than 10 feet tall sculpture of a masculine deity with Shanka and Chakra, with garlands, with no legs, and on either side Sri Devi and Bhudevi. This is the Jagannatha of Puri. This is the face of Jagannatha of Puri. When you go, if you have seen, people have seen, this face is that U-shaped typical of the Orison architecture. This has a connecting story. This sculpture was recently discovered after I retired in the 2017. See, when I was there working at Hampi, I could not see this sculpture or desire to find them. How people will think that there is a huge sculpture of Jagannatha in this narrow boulder. It is not visible to the front at all. It is not visible to the people. Only if you trek, Hampi has got so much for you. It is still bountiful. You cannot simply, that's why I have written there the story never ending. You cannot say that I know everything of Hampi. If anyone says that he knows everything of Hampi, he would be a person who is short sighted, I would like to say. Next, this Jagannatha and Rama and Lakshmana sculptures were there because they have a connection. You look at the feet, it is like the Jagannatha of Puri, the same type of feet. That curvature is not there, but here it is flattened. You can immediately identify it as the Jagannatha of Puri because the typical curving of the upcurving of the lips and the U-shaped, bowl-shaped face and the typical different type of crown, they all show a Northeast Indian or Kalinga features. And next, nearby, there is a Shaiva cave, which is later on a rock shelter, which is later on provided with an entrance door. And as you enter into the cave, be careful when you go into such places. There will be leopards in them. Make shout properly. Keep people with you. Before going to such places, carry a weapon in the form of a large stick in your hand and be in a group. Don't go alone in the excitement. You may not come out at all. Next, there inside was a mutilated Shivalinga, and behind Shivalinga, on a boulder, a curious, still aspect of investigation. You will see a large, huge snake cut in the rock with Surya and Chandra. This indicates something important. We may have to know as to what it is, because this appears to be an arched entrance, and behind, above it, it is packed. Anyone dare to go and examine that? Try. Next, see, this is the boulder. The first narrow boulder, the first small boulder with three red marks has this Jagannatha, and this particular the large boulder, it has the sculpture of Rama and Lakshmana, and above we have this pinnacle of the Rishyamukha, an unassuming boulder of Jagannatha and temple atop Rishyamukha. This is the one which is when we after removing the vegetation, this much part of temple is exposed. Otherwise, the temple was also covered in vegetation. Next, this is the view from Jagannatha, the view of Achyutaraya temple and the Matanga hillock from this Jagannatha. And look at this, fascinating how the architecture blends with the nature. Nowhere you will find the boulders or rock formations disturbing the grandiose monument built in the valley. Next, sometimes you have animals to lead you to the place you want to go. So here is a grazing goat for pasture, which is also led by a crow in flight. Next, this is the Gandhamadana and Rishyamukha mountain, and the backdrop in the foreground is the very huge Lokapavani, and the foreground, the front hillock is Gandhamadana. The one on your right hand side is Rishyamukha. This is Vitala Bazaar. Next, the period from 1336 to 1565, the holy place Bhakpa Kshetra grew into Vijayanagara metropolis amidst granite hills and narrow valleys. This is the great Krishna temple and Sasave called Ganesha in the foreground in the valley of temples. Next, and here is Shiva Girija, the marriage of Shiva Parvati, painting. It is known for its paintings also, not only the wilderness. Next, and even today, Sri Shiva Girija, they are worshipped as Virupaksha and goddess Parvati. Next, this is the zones are there we have classified. When we classified the World Heritage Site, we had to classify it into various complexes. So we have made drawings and all satellite images. So here is one religious zone spread on the banks of river is shown for you. Next, this is the Virupaksha temple complex, the Achyutaraya temple complex, Vitala temple complex. Then we have the citadel area all marked. And this is how swarm of dikes. You can see each locality has got a hillock, swarm of dikes. And these hillocks are named after the hillocks or localities of the Kishkinda of the Ramayana times. Next, mesmerizing valleys, beautiful system of valleys are there. Krishna Valley, Virupaksha. Then we have got Achyutraya. Next, you can see Vitala temple complex is there. Then Royal Citadel area is there. Next, Hampi. The more you go around, the more you familiarize and familiarity you will get. Next, we have here at Hampi a very complicated architecture which looks very simple. All various architectural units are put together in such a way, it is the culmination of Dravidian art and architecture in this part of the country, wherein various mandapas have been added. So these mandapas have been, this is becomes the characteristic feature of Vijayanagara, which is adopted in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh also for the monuments of 15th, 16th century. Next, you can see enchanting structural ventures like stone chariot. It is a structural one, built by stone. Yet they have their grandeur of their own in breaking the skyline. Next, another view of articulation of corners to perfection. Look at the corners of the Dwajastamba Mandapa, Balipita, as well as stone chariot. Look at these corners that are in indentations. They are matching to perfection. Next, and sometimes we have to be bear with the living architecture also. Here is the Shiva's Nandi Vrishabha visiting Virupaksha temple every day. Next, here the group of monkeys, especially the mother and child, they are worried about the food. Future is bleak, baby. Monkey, do not depend on tourists who themselves have fallen prey to unhealthy food habits. That's what the mother is trying to console the baby monkey. Next, these are all part of Vijayanagar architecture. At the same time, you see the modernization. When we modernize, we don't look either left or right. Simply we go for modernization. Look at those people waiting with umbrella and other this thing for a group of visitors coming. Look at their dress code. Ghastly. Such architecture are deterrent factors for the future of the World Heritage Site in the name of tourism. We should not indulge in. Next. We have seen everything. Do not rush through. Be wise like ice. Because the oval appears to be telling to the people who visit Hampi, we have seen everything. Do not rush through. Be wise like ice. Be visited. We keep visiting the place every time you come. Next, Lakshmi, the elephant, is part of Hampi for the past 25 years. She did servitude for Virupaksha and gratitude for Mahut, albeit losing the freedom. A familiar face. She has seen me for the past 25 years. I was there when she was brought as a small baby monkey, and leaving her Mahut, she would run around me around the temple. Whenever I went around, she heard my voice, Lakshmi, immediately she would leave her Mahut and come behind me. That is the friendship animals develop towards people. Next, it appears man has ensured our extinction. Cheaters, instead of grain, feed plastic to us, seems to say this beautiful bird. Next, I have checked it, there is no food. She is telling and she is moving away. Another bird drops down to check the plastic cover for food. Next, man has become very, very, very selfish. He has to share whatever. Here, the crow are telling, let us share whatever that is given to us. Parrots are liked, we are abhorred. A mother's attention for developing the metropolis has been given by the Vijayanagara artists. Next, environs. Mother Nature has given beautiful environs, fertile valleys, river. Next, the architecture, nature's architecture is fascinating. It has inspired Vijayanagara builders. Next, architecture and nature blended amicably. So here we find the grandiose Vitala temple complex very well blended into the nature of boulders. Next, a living heritage, any place, any location, any huge formation of rock, if it is available for carving, it is used. Here is Kotilinga, here is Shivalinga, we have Hanuman, and this is the most famous Madhva place of worship, Yantrodharaka Anjaneya. Next, simple mandapas with unassuming entrances leads to huge enclosures and bazaars. Next, see the architecture beautifully, two-storied, very simple architecture without any hoo-ha. They have built simple mandapas. Next, nature is not disturbed at all. Look at the boulders left as it is without being disturbed or cut into. Next, such mounds have the buried pages of Hampi's history. We should not rush through. Such mounds have the history of Hampi, still buried. Next, huge enclosures of secular structures. The person who is showing there the area where we got 38 gold coins of Venkatavarahas of Krishnadevaraya's times in 1513 to commemorate the building of the victory over Kalinga as well as the building of Balakrishna temple in the year 1513 in Krishnapura. Next, huge enclosure walls guarded the splendid structures inside. Next, the Vijayanagara Prasanna Narasimha, a small temple, was decked in gold, not to speak of other deities. A small temple, its deity in the boulder over here, did have jewelry of its own, which I'll be showing later. Next, a bazaar in front of a temple is a must in the Vijayanagara period. So here we have the bazaar in front of Brahmavitala temple, and these bazaars are named Jaya and Vijaya. Next, surprise elements, unique, solitary storytelling figures which narrate a story of their presence and also correlate themselves about the presence of a princess from Kalinga, the king's enthusiasm of the people. You have put this TM Keshav this side. You have to put it in the corner, right side corner. Enthusiasm, wherein you have very quite interesting figures. They themselves form part of a story. Look at this particular Jagannatha in close quarters. Next, these were the gold coins that were discovered in that fort wall, shown by that person. It is to commemorate the victory. Next, vegetation, a separate study was made by Shrikant Gunuga, Vignesh Hegde, Raghavendra Jitin, Abhilash Satish, with Ganeshaya KN and R. Vasudeva of the University of Agricultural Sciences for at the behest of request of Archaeological Survey of India, and they identified such plants. Next, identified such plants which are there quite some time. Next, and we have types of 295 species, then 82 families. There are herbs of 133 varieties, shrubs 47, trees of 70, climbers of 33. We have different, they are all categorized. So we wanted to know what was the vegetation of Hampi during the times of Ramayana period. That is also calculated and given by them. Next, these are some of the slides that should be rushed through. Next, See, about 57 species recorded in history literature are still found at Hampi. Next, different plants, Cyanothis, Plumago. Next, 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 Olax, Echinocarpus. Next, Arva, Aristocleia, Tribulus, Tenospora, Ludwigia. Next, next, next. I had written in Kannada, that part has not come. Jewel beetle of Hampi, an unique species of diversity of insects, different types of insects that were found there. Next, about 150 bird species, peacock, hoopoe, woodpecker, parrot, kingfisher, river tern, lapwing, etc. have been found. 15 mammals have been found. Leopard, bear, jackal, fruit bat, etc. have been found. Still are available in these places. Next. Now, the most important thing is that to unravel this mystery, it is not the officers who are responsible. Do you mind shifting my photograph to the right corner? I will tell it in Kannada. It is in Kannada. I would like to read it out. Madam, ಅಮೂಲ್ಯ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಭೂಗರ್ಭದಿಂದ ಹೊರತೆಗೆದು ಆ ಕಷ್ಟಕರ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ತಮ್ಮ ಬಡತನದ ಅರ್ಧ ಹಸಿದ ಜೀವವನ್ನು ಬದಿಗೊತ್ತಿ ನಗುಮುಖದಿಂದ ಅನಾವರಗೊಳಿಸಿದ ಹಂಪಿಯ ಕಮಲಾಪುರದ ಸೀತಾರಾಮ್ ತಾಂಡದ HPCಯ ಹೊಸಪೇಟೆಯ ವೆಂಕಟಾಪುರದ ಆನೆಗೊಂದಿಯ ಅಸಂಖ್ಯಾತ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕ ಬಂಧುಗಳ ಪರಿಶ್ರಮವು ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ಹಿಮದಲ್ಲಿನ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನ ಮಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಬೇಕೆಂಬುದು ನನ್ನ ಆಶಯ. ಕಾರಣ, ದಿನಗೂಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರ ಯಾದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ 1977ನೇ ಇಸ್ವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನದು 3 ಅಥವಾ 4ನೇ ಹೆಸರು. ಹಂಪಿಯನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ ಸಂತಸಪಟ್ಟ ಪ್ರವಾಸಿಗರು ಅದರ ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ಪುಟಗಳನ್ನು ತೆರೆದಿಟ್ಟ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರ ಬವಣೆ ನಿಟ್ಟುಸಿರು, ಅವರು ಬಸಿದ ಬೆವರು, ನೆತ್ತರು, ತೆತ್ತ ಜೀವಗಳನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಕ್ಷಣ ಸ್ಮರಿಸಿದರೆ ಆ ವಿರೂಪಾಕ್ಷನು ಸಂತುಷ್ಟನಾಗುತ್ತಾನೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ I started my career as an archaeologist on daily wages at Hampi for 12 rupees way back in 77. My name appeared 6th or 3rd or 4th in the list of the muster. Work at Royal Enclosure. Male laborer 3.25, female laborer 2.75, boy girl coolie 1.75. Happy life of a poor man. Girl coolies were more naked, wore less clothes. Boy coolies had a tattered cheddi, their shame covered by more safety pins of their mother. Forgetting all their difficulties behind emaciated bodies, with their sweat and blood turned, unraveled the mysteries of Golden Hampi. Enclosures after enclosures have their sweat and blood, the sighs and tears, thinking of an oven in their kitchen has to wait for the daily wages payment, inebriated husbands, hunger satiated by water. Scholars gloated about the discovery. Officers got funds, yet none bothered about these sighs. Even today, their problems stand continued. Next. Interaction with late Dr. Krishna enhanced my knowledge. Nobody can claim that he is knowledge. Only everyone can teach you whatever. Here is Krishna teaching me some of the finer aspects of Hampi pottery. Next. Discussion on excavation has unraveled many a new pages of history. Here, one of the officers whom I really worship, appreciate, is Dr. K.B. Punacha, who was part of our entire team, who stood by us, who did work for us, who was part of the entire. I have made him even to carry a sculpture on his shoulders for when the work called. I told him, "You give your shoulder to this bamboo for a while until I remove the sculpture from the buried position." He did that, removed his shirt, forgot he is an officer, took the crowbar and worked with me. a great man officer to be saluted. Ganesha Drasman, he is no more. Late M.V. Vishweshwara, you all know very well. We are at Kanaganalli excavation. I have put this slide purposefully to show you the officers who actively involved at Hampi excavation as well. Next, see what is the fate of her food. She two crows peck at her lunch box, dry jovo rotis, pepper and onion, which was my food also at this site. Yet the labor kept smiling. Next, and here there were many officers who were part of the team. They thought they unraveled the mystery of Hampi, but there were a couple of officers who were not to have been posted there. They undid what I had done for the benefit of the laborers. They were under the impression I was given more than 57 lakhs by the laborers to regularize them, which did not come at all. Till still today, laborers are starving. However, it is better you know that George A. Narasimhaya, L.K. Srinivasan, K.P. Poonacha, T.M. Keshav and scores of other scholars officers were not responsible for unraveling the mystery of Hampi. Out of the sun, dust, whispering rocks, musical yet silent stones, a meditating Hanuman. See you next time. Thank you. Next. Created by the Creator has created astonishing array of architecture amidst nature's creation, a marvel that remains unsurpassed in the history of mankind, preservation of which is the bounden duty of all of us. It is your TM Keshava until tomorrow with love and salutations. Well, this is about the initiation of you people to Hampi. I hope you have enjoyed. Time I have taken extra. The slides I could not place it right. 15 minutes behind schedule. However, you have to wait to enjoy something nice, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Love
True.
you all.
Very
Love
true,
you
sir.
all.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving such a beautiful lecture. It mesmerized me and, of course, all our audience. And we are very enthusiastic to learn more about Hampi. As you told, how much deep we go into the study of Hampi, again we find newer things and more newer things, and it's never ending story. So thank you so much, sir, for putting so much light on unrevealed truths about Hampi. There are a lot of congratulatory messages, sir. Dr. Aruni sir, SK Aruni sir had joined the lecture, and Dr. Raj Shekhar Yamvi had joined. Then Murgesh Turuvekere had joined the lecture. Dr. Purnima Damannavar, Assistant Professor, Department of Kannada, Ranichanma University, she had joined the lecture. Then Saddam Mujawar, Assistant Professor and HOD, Department of History at Anjuman College, Bijapur. He also had joined the lecture, sir. So a lot of views we have for your lecture, and lot of congratulatory message too. Suman Garg has said that very precious information, sir. Thank you for sharing this information. I'll just show it, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we
Thank you.
have a lot of congratulatory messages. I'm a bit curious about the one thing, sir.
Yeah.
It, it's not a question, but I'm a bit curious. As you mentioned that each and every temple of Hampi, in front of each and every temple of Hampi, there used to be a market, and the remains of those markets can be seen now. So what was the reason to construct a market in front of temple? Because now Now also we see markets in front of temples, but not like pan supari market or vegetable markets. Only the markets which provide coconut and other things related to temple. So what was the reason, sir?
The reason is a temple was visited by people in those days, and each temple had a specific market, as we have the Pansupari Bazaar in front of Hazar Rama temple, as we have the grocery market in front of Krishna temple, we have jewelry market in front of Achyutaraya temple. To diffuse the population, each temple, you should know that each locality in Hampi is known as Krishnapura extension. Like Jayanagara in Bangalore, Jayanagara, Majestic, Gandhinagar, like that. So every place, those places also have even today a temple of ancient times or medieval times in their extensions. Likewise, this concept of having a people who go to a temple, they can go to a market also, buy the things that they are needed, and then return back. With this concept, every temple did have a market of its own so that trade and commerce activity was easy to be carried out. The taxes concern taxes because everyone who visited Hampi would definitely visit the temple. There, a toll collector's point would be there. The toll collector would collect the taxes. He would collect the taxes from the visitors also for the visiting the temple as well as marketing there. So it was an important place wherein all the activities of a play a place was carried out, and here to diffuse the population. Vijayanagara was the capital city, the most populous capital city, very famous in those days. You know very well the observations of Abdul Razak. Neither the eyes, people of the eyes has seen, nor the ears of intelligence has heard a city as large as this. So you can very well imagine that with such huge population, you will naturally have to have a locality wherein without disturbing others, without disturbing the main people of the city, there will be a market in a diffused locations so that the trade and commerce activity of the city could be carried out. So, which is the better place? If you have a separate market there, people may not go there. But in front of temple, everyone will visit the temple, everyone will be there. It was the intelligence of the Vijayanagara architects as well as the rulers to have a market right in front of the temple in the name of the god. In the name of the god, the trade and commerce activity was carried out. There was no chance of a cheating. Suppose if anybody cheated there, there was a talwar. There was a person who used to guard the trade and commerce activity of the market. If a poor man was cheated out by this thing, a trader, he would be immediately caught. If a trader was cheated by another person, he would be caught. If both they cheated out of taxes to the kingdom or the king, they would be caught. So it was a central activity wherein the trade and commerce happened right in front of the god to protect the treasury of the state as well as to make it convenient for every man. The justice of trading and commercing reaches to every person who visited the place. Satisfied?
Uh,
Tell
Thank you so
me.
much for beautiful answer. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You know, I will tell you this happened. I could give you because a person they were so much affluent, which I should have told you tomorrow. Yet I'll tell you for your curiosity. A person who was trading lost a pouch of 80 gold coins in the Vitala Bazaar. Equal amount of coins in the Achyuta Bazaar. They did not bother to pick it up. They left the coins in the buried state, only to be excavated and unearthed by us. Gold coins, you imagine gold panas, small panas, Bedekazo, 80 in number, nearly. They were left on the road. They lost it. Nobody bothered to pick it up. Because if a person who had lost it, if he comes, let him take it. It is his money. That was the nature. That was the attitude. Arey bhai, they had to hide their golden jewelry, they had to hide their gold coins in the drainage of a house when there was the invasion to escape from the clutches of having wealth with them and getting killed. They simply left, they removed a stone of a drainage, put all their belongings, precious belongings there, covered and went. After so many years, Keshav sir got this particular jewelry and coins when he removed one stone of the drainage for photography. My intention was to make a good photography of the drainage. Their intention was to bury the precious objects. And when I removed that stone, it was just below the 10 centimeters. Any tourist could have picked up these things and gone because he never know. That's why Archaeological Survey of India doesn't allow anyone to dig anywhere at Hampi because important pages of history will be lost. If we allow people, everybody will dig and take and go away. We will not know the context of it. We will not know the exact this thing. Hampi, the story of it is endless. It is one who sees them, one who understands them. See, interpretation sitting under the fan, sitting in the AC room, keeping couple of books written by earlier scholars. Do not interpret Hampi. Hampi has to be interpreted at the site. It has to be interpreted at the site by seeing visually yourself, not going by the books written by me or George Mitchell or another fellow or another scholar or someone. The more the more you trek at Hampi, the more you learn personally, the more you will gain analyzing capabilities. Bookish knowledge of Hampi, don't go on that. Don't believe me also. What I have seen, I have told you. Your perception will be different. So, child, better visit the place and study. Yes, next.
Sir,
Yeah.
uh, I have visited Hampi on several occasions, but the
Hmm.
entire vastness of it is so great, and it is so huge and so interesting. Uh, we cannot, definitely in 1 or 2 days we cannot completely see Hampi, or even if you keep on going there 100 times, you will have a different perspective each time. You will see something new every day. But
Yeah.
as you have worked there for so many years and you have field experience of Hampi, what would be a great starting point for the tour of Hampi? From where should we start and where to end? Let's say,
You start with
just
the sunrise. You start with the
yes,
sunrise and end with the sunset from any part of the World Heritage Site. You should start with the sunrise, end with the sunset, with a bottle of water, a packet of biscuit, trek, keep trekking. And when you see something, don't rush to make notes of it. See that, see its environment, see how it has been located, so see how it has been constructed or conceived, what could be its importance there, why it is done like that, who might have done like. Go with a questionnaire. Don't go with a preconceived answer. Go with a questionnaire. See, after seeing, I showed you the trek up to Jagannatha. After seeing that, connecting it as the Rishyamukha Hillak, I gave the sculpture of Rama and Lakshmana. After seeing Jagannatha, I connected it to Krishna temple, Balakrishna temple. From Balakrishna temple, I connected it to the coins minted for Kanakabhisheka at Tirupati Balaji and the conquering of Kalinga. See, one sculpture seen there in the wall connected me to so many places at Hampi. It is not, you should not immediately, after seeing something, idamittam, you cannot write, conclude. Hampi never allows you to conclude. That's why the story never ending I wrote. Why I wrote? Madam, child, I am seeing Hampi for the past 45 years. I am yet to understand Hampi. What your younger generation people visiting it for 10 times or 12 times, maximum 100 times. I have done it for the past 35 years. So, every day Hampi is a new thing to me. Every day the goddesses look in new view and this thing for me. Every day Virupaksha tells a story. Every day a bird there tells a story to me. Every day I know every stone in the at Hampi, the World Heritage Site, wherever I have walked. See, here also I am telling you only this thing, wherever I have walked. I know every stone at Hampi, wherever I have walked. Not all the place. I cannot claim. Nobody can claim that they have done everything of Hampi and they have done with it. If any one scholar, maybe he may be having doctorates, maybe he might have produced PhD students, he would have not visited Hampi, I challenge. They would have not visited the sites. Neither the students could have been guided properly to visit Hampi. If they all had visited seriously Hampi, by this time the research of Hampi should have been completed, isn't it? 3,000 articles, more than 3,000 articles, more than 6,000 articles have been written. ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಅನಿಸಿಕೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಮೂರ್ತ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಕೊಡುವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಥಳದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸುವ ಇತರೆ ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನು ಕ್ರೋಢೀಕರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಅವುಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತುಲನಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ ನೋಡಿ ಅನಂತರ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಂಥನ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ ತರ ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳು ನಾನು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಬರೀತೀನಮ್ಮ. ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಟೇಬಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈ ತರ ಡೈಲಾಗ್ ಹೊಡೆದು ನಾನು ಬರೆದು ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. ತಲೆ ಚಚ್ಕೊ ಮಗು, ನನ್ನಂಗೆ ದಿನಗೂಲಿ ಮಾಡು ನೀನು. ನನ್ನಂಗೆ ಬಿಸಿಲಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ರಾಯಲ್ ಎನ್ಕ್ಲೋಸರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ನಾನು ಬರೆದಾಗ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ವಾಸ್ 46 degrees Celsius with one Dr. C.S. Sheshadri sitting as Ganesha for me writing down the report, while one labor held a towel. ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕೊಂಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಛತ್ರಿ ಕೊಂಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಕಾಸು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ಕಾರ. ಒಂದು ಲೇಬರು ಹೆಗಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಟೌಲ್ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಮಗೆ ಅಡ್ಡ ಅವಳು ನೆರಳು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ನಾನಂತೂ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಬಿಸಿಲಲ್ಲಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ದಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್, ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟು ವಾಕ್ ಅರೌಂಡ್ ದಿ ರೂಯಿನ್ಸ್. ಐ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ವಾಕ್ ಅರೌಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಹಾಟ್ ಸನ್, ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬಾಯ್ ಟು ಸಿಟ್ aside in the shadow, little shadow, and he would be making notes, and he would in the night type it out for me for correction. Madam, nowadays everything has become very easy. Touch the button, you will get it in YouTube. Touch the button, you will get it in Twitter. Touch the button, you will get this. It was not so easy for us 35 years ago. It has come. But one thing, it is sad to say that whatever the research that is going on, it is not being aimed at Hampi properly, at the Vijayanagara Hampi site properly. Post Vijayanagara's, you found an inscription outside in Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh of Vijayanagara kings. You take it as it is but natural. When a king has his kingdom all over peninsular India, he has his inscriptions there. That's not the issue. What is your Hampi? What about your Hampi? What is that you have understood about Hampi? Do you need 60 years to speak about the connectivity of Hampi with Ramayana, Kishkinda? Until the government insisted us to write something, only we wrote it a couple of months ago. And now they found an inscription on the top of Kishkinda hillock telling it as Kishkinda, the Tara Betta, which I had already identified it as Kishkinda based on the description in the Ramayana. So it means you are not studying the literature. You have to study the literature. Before going to the site, don't have very preconceived notions. Without any preconceived notions, go to the site. It has a story to tell you. The ghost of Hampi will be revealed to you when you go to that site at all times. Not so easy, madam. Your skin color should be like that of mine. Then only you can go and see the site. Next.
So there's a question here by
Mm.
Mr. Pronil Das. Is
Mm.
it possible to restore Hampi?
Pronil, definitely we can restore Hampi to some extent, not to great extent, because Hampi ruins, monuments and ruins have been the terminology that has been used to protect the monument, protect it as World Heritage Site. See, you can restore it to the maximum, but there should be some evidence for you to show that that particular site has been plundered, that particular site has been destroyed. You should have certain evidence. I have seen the battlefield. I have kept it under hash because I do not know. I know certain sentimentalities of the history, which I should not be telling. Yet we have there that site can be restored to the Archaeological Survey of India is a 150-year-old organization. It can protect under any thing under the sun, conserve anything under the sun. 1 second, please. ಅಣ್ಣ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಲೈವ್ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಲೈವ್ so you will see that site, if you go on restoring the thing, the original characteristic feature of the site as it was destroyed will be lost. One thing. Secondly, the evidences that are still there because we restored the Devi shrine. I will give you one example. We restored the Devi shrine of the Vitala temple complex, wherein we dismantled the front mandapa, pillared mandapa, and when we dug into the plinth foundation, we found as many as 85 copper, gold plated, silver objects, bronze objects buried in a hurried burial in the this pillared mandapa. Why? That is the only evidence now for us to indicate that this mandapa burial of these puja items in the mandapa indicates that there was all of a sudden there was a severe attack, and to protect these objects they simply removed a stone in the floor of the mandapa and put all of these vessels in a pit and buried it. And do you know that they were in which conditions they were? The suit, the carbon suit of the vessels that had been cooked had not been removed. The contents of the food were not removed. The objects were simply heaped and thrown into this pit. This indicates a hastened burial given to them. This evidence would have been lost if we had not been careful. Conservation of the entire Hampi is possible. Now our main motto should be, I am calling through this YouTube to the scholars of Archaeological Survey of India, to the officers of Archaeological Survey of India working at Hampi, and the State Archaeology Department people. First, restore the stuccos. It is the need of the hour because Kandas Putida Jeeranodhara is the terminology that we use in the inscriptions because for annual repairs, funds were made available, munificent funds. These annual repairs were in the form of lime plastering, covering the cracks of the stuccos, repainting them, and also rejuvenate them by restoring the broken fingers, hands, nose. Khandas Putida Jeeranodhara, that is the terminology. Nowadays, which officer goes to the inscriptions? That is the tragedy. Unless, see, let us not do westernized conservation. Indian conservation is as old as 4,000 years old. That conservation has to be done in the Indian way. Why were the kings mad to give thousands of gold coins for the restoration? Kandas put the Jeeranodhara of the temple? Was Krishnadeva insane for having given annually gifts and donations for the restoration of the temple? It was an annual affair. It could be done. But at Hampi now we cannot do it because it is a ruined place. You do not know what is in the sanctum. We do not know what was the nature of sculpture which was in the superstructure. We do not know the type of pillars that had been adopted there in the mandapas. Destruction has been made wholesome, total. Under such circumstances, we have to restore to some extent. Now, it is since the question you have asked is very good. It is necessary that the stucco images, to some extent, are to be restored immediately. On the southern second tier of southern Shikhara unit of the Hazarama temple is one sculpture of importance stucco wherein Rama kicks at the body of Dundubi. It is not even available in stone anywhere at Hampi. It is the only this place that this temple in the form of stucco. This image is available. Unless you do not restore them, you would have lost them. You will lose them. There are some great stucco sculptures which need to be immediately restored. Otherwise, you younger generation will not see them at all. And whatever I have written about them will be laying in the book in some corner, in some trivial corner of a book, which you would not even refer, because the books of a historian is referred more than the books of an archaeologist, because archaeologist has a poor English and my God, that's why we make good husbands of women. That's what Agatha Christie says, not I. So this can be done, Pranil, and I am very happy you asked this question. Now it is Mr. Nikhil Das from Institute of from Archaeological Survey of India, who is at Hampi. If he is seeing this, he would have definitely, I will write it and give it. He would have not seen it because Keshav sir is very straightforward. Nobody likes a person who is very straightforward. Yes, I hope this is enough, Mr. Pranil.
Uh, yes, sir. Thank you so much on behalf of Pronil. I think we
Yeah,
have come to the yes, no, sir, that was the last question in the comment section. I
yeah,
think we have come to the end of today's session.
yeah.
I request Ms. Nidhi Katti to kindly propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Manali. Today's lecture given by TM Keshav sir was very enlightening. It made us realize that there is much more work, research to be done on Hampi. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us. And we will try our best to make it reach to the authorities to whom It should. We will try our best by circulating it in multiple social media platforms. Thank you so much for giving this beautiful lecture today, sir. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is mine. I hope you will give me more time. Don't restrict my time to just 1 hour or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. If that is the necessary, I need not be invited at all. Love you.
Yes, sir,
Okay.
sure. Sure, sir.
Bye
In
bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. In future, we
Pleasure is
will
mine.
surely keep that in our mind, sir. Will not restrict the
Yeah.
time. Sure, sir.
Tomorrow Vijayanagara comes. Put the photograph of a monument of Vijayanagara, a spire or some rock formation, and say tomorrow it's Vijayanagara.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Vijayanagara and its excavations.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay? That's the title.
Uh, Thank you, sir. I also take this privilege to thank the President of History Enthusiasts, Miss Manali Momaya, for being actively part of this session. Thank you so much, Manali. Thank you.
Pleasure is mine.
Thank you.
Bye. See you.
Bye,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you,
Bye.
Sunidhi, and thanks the audience also. We are signing off here. See you all tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Yes.
Bye.